One, two. Oh my gosh, so close. He kicked out. He kicked out. He kicked.
Late, but rather late than never. Episode 70 here on Ring Takes here with Lewis and Brian. I'm Daniel. I'm here to bring you guys up to speed on the wrestling week. This week we have Rhea Ripley challenging Liv Morgan. Of course, we have MJF heel turn, which is going on in AEW and Ospreay. They had a 1 hour match. Another wrestling notes, but let's get right into it with Monday Night Raw this week. We had Rhea Ripley returning fully this time back to Monday Night Raw, basically addressing everything with Dominik Mysterio and Liv Morgan. What do you guys think about that? And Dominik Mysterio stuck between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley getting re-implemented back into the Judgment Day and everything that's going on.
Yeah. Well, first, I like how this story was kind of like the central theme of Raw throughout the entire night. I mean, they kicked off the show, then they had numerous segments throughout the night, leading up to the match between Dominik Mysterio and Jey Uso. Which I thought was hilarious. If you went on social media afterwards, apparently the story between Dom and Rhea did draw back a lot to Eddie Guerrero in China when Eddie had gotten caught with cheating. He comes out with all the flowers and then Rhea wants no part of it, similar to China, and pretty much Dom all night is pretty much just trying to tell Rhea that it wasn't anything and Rhea not buying it. And the opening segment in of itself with Liv Morgan, which I thought was hilarious. How she used the fact that her voice was messed up to say that she's quite the screamer, which I thought was hilarious, kind of adding to the story. We kind of knew that the story was heading in this direction from the very beginning when Liv attacked Rhea after WrestleMania. I think I was the one that said, all right, now they have a little story going, especially when it was revealed that Rhea gotten hurt. I mean, first one takes one out, then the other takes the other one out, then then one wants to take everything from the other one. Now the other one is back to avenge. So they've had this story. I mean, we may not be the biggest fans of it, but it's a logical story. And now you just throw Dom in the middle of it as the biggest heel in the company. And I think this is the top story for the women right now. Is it not?
I would say yeah. I would say it is.
It's the top story in the women's division. So
it's arguably the top story in the company.
Well, actually, we'll see after SummerSlam what happens after SummerSlam. That definitely might change after SummerSlam. But it was I love how it was pretty much the theme of Raw throughout the night. Jey Uso getting involved. I think I shared that photo of Jey Uso and Rhea Ripley at Waffle House, which I love how Jey added into it, kind of adding to the tension. And then of course, with the Judgment Day segments backstage, obviously Carlito being the funniest comedy on Monday Night Raw with his little side comments, and that's not cool, that's cool, which I thought was hilarious. But I love how this story is picking up steam.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say Dom is literally Eddie 2.0, and I don't know, just with Rhea being back and the pop she's getting and the reaction, it's just shows how big Rhea is to the company right now. But also kudos to Liv for playing into this role, really hyping up the story of her, this wasn't really my intentions, but then now I realize I do want Dom and all this and this and that. So it's the battle for him, even though it's kind of different compared to the Eddie's thing, because Eddie was blatantly just cheating, where here it's just he's hey, I'm just I'm here, and she's she won't leave me alone, and you know. So I'm curious to see how it goes. If she is going to end up like ditching him, if she wins the title, or if he's gonna screw her, which I feel like is what's gonna happen at SummerSlam. Like, you know, he's gonna come out, be in support of her, and maybe unintentionally cost her the title, you know, to prolong the story. What does that mean for Judgment Day? Are they going to kick him out of Judgment Day? You know, there's a lot of avenues where they could go with this, or even make it a longer feud or longer story, you know. But Rhea just looks dominant. Liv, you know, looking like the conniving, scheming, you know, heel right now, which is, you know, honestly, it is the biggest story going into SummerSlam right now, which is really making it's going to leave a lot of anticipation to this match. So definitely a good way to continue the feud and the story.
I definitely like the work that of course Rhea coming back is going to be impactful. We know how big of a star she is, how everybody's just drawn to her. But kudos to Liv Morgan as this as well, because when this started, everybody was like, okay, how long is she going to have the title? Is she going to wrestle? She's been wrestling recently, defending the title against Zelina Vega. And everybody was like, she doesn't stand in the ring next to Rhea Ripley and stand on even footing, right? Like, she's not like a Charlotte or a Bianca, or in that case and type. She has to be conniving. She has to be manipulative. The innocent girl next door type feel that she's given in this this storyline here. And just kudos to her, because it's definitely given a different element, and that's the way that you do that in terms of wrestling and booking and stuff like that. If you have somebody who's so dominant, there has to be another way that you can get underneath their skin to create a wedge or doubt a belief that, hey, I want to figure out a way to keep this title. So kudos to Liv Morgan. I think she's doing a great job. Saying she's a screamer. The whole I wasn't into Dom at first, but then I wanted to hurt you, and then it ended up being more. And then Dom playing in the middle of this, being like the idiot in the middle of all this, and just like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just and everything, and down to everything, because this affects every movement in Judgment Day. We saw how Finn Balor was moving. We've seen Carlito bringing comedy relief. We see Damian Priest basically being like, yo, I told you to handle this. I told you to handle this, and look what's happening, and look at all the shit that you're in. And now he's getting into matches with Jey Uso and losing and looking like an idiot. And he's sitting there trying to say, hey, I just want to prove you're mine. And then Rhea kind of putting him back in his place and saying, no, I don't belong to anybody. You're mine. So it still shows that she's still into him and wants him, at least storyline wise. So I just like all the boys involved, because at first I was just like, where's this going to go? How long is this going to go? They've been able to draw it out. They've been able to build it up week to week. And now Rhea Ripley's back, and it's getting... we're getting a match at SummerSlam between the two. So I don't know why it's not a ladder match, like how Eddie and Ray were fighting for Dom, which would have been hilarious. But
I think eventually we're gonna get to that, because I'll make an early prediction right now. I don't think SummerSlam is the end of this.
Is Dominik Mysterio going to be in a shark cage above the ring? And
there's going to be something. You got to come up with something where like Dom's love is on the line or some shit.
What match did they do where they had somebody suspended in a shark cage?
It was Enzo. They did it a couple of times. One time I remember they did it with Chris Jericho. Jericho was in the shark cage. It was KO and Roman Reigns. That was the first Royal Rumble match between them.
Oh, okay.
And then I remember specifically, we got Enzo Amore. Big Cass was facing Big Show, and Enzo Amore was up in the cage. I remember that. That was at SummerSlam. That was at a SummerSlam. So
I remember. Was it WrestleMania? Oh no, that was handcuffs. Who was in a cage? Somebody was in a cage. It might have been WC.
Like Paul Heyman or something at one point.
I think he was in one too.
I feel like he was in one. I can't remember.
Who was in a cage? I felt like it was Chyna in a cage one time. I know she was handcuffed before.
Yeah, she was definitely handcuffed. I remember that.
She was in a cage and she broke out. I can't remember, but
yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, the 90s. But yeah, they got to do something. Dom has to get involved in somehow, or something. Something has to happen, because everybody's integrated into it. Everybody's getting involved. Liv Morgan's being fantastic. And it's good to just have Rhea Ripley back because in the women's division, you kind of felt like, hey, what's going on? It's kind of stalling a little bit. But to have Rhea Ripley returning definitely created more of an impact going forward. I can't wait to see what they do at SummerSlam and see how they prolong this story. It's going to be interesting, especially see what place Dominik Mysterio plays in it. Let's continue moving on. Drew McIntyre still suspended, extending his suspension for not apologizing to Damian Preist. Apparently, you can get extended suspensions by not apologizing. But what do you guys make of this whole interaction with Drew McIntyre and AP Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce? Mm-hmm.
I thought he had to apologize to the refs.
Yeah, that's what it was, Dan. That's what I was about to correct you.
I thought it was.
Yeah, Adam Pearce wanted him to apologize to the officials. That's what.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, but yeah, how do you guys feel about that whole interaction? And let me start this off. I just feel like they just have to do this until whatever Punk gets cleared. I guess that's the whole thing of this. I hope SummerSlam's not in jeopardy. That's the one thing I want to say. I hope SummerSlam's not in jeopardy. This match needs to happen at SummerSlam. It can't happen at Bad Blood. It can't happen on a Raw.
Why not? It's perfect for Bad Blood.
It has to keep building towards
Bad Blood.
It has to continue. It has to continue building to Bad Blood, in my opinion. Like SummerSlam's supposed to be the hot moment, and then it's supposed to continue into Bad Blood. But this match deserves to be on SummerSlam. That's all.
It definitely does.
I know it's Cleveland, but it's still SummerSlam.
See, for me, this segment, I don't know. It felt a little forced because just like really, like you can't just apologize to the refs. Like, you did kind of shove them and beat the crap out of them. Like,
hey, nobody apologized to Drew McIntyre. Okay,
why do they need to? Everything that happened is part of the game. Like cash in. I mean, he did take out Punk first, did he not? Come on, now.
He got Punk out the world. That's all.
Okay. So now it's not justified when it is, but now it's all. That's why I was just like, out of everything, why his suspension is continued is because of the refs. I get there's probably no other way to like keep him off TV, I guess. So I mean, I get it. It just felt a little forced to me. I don't know.
Well, like you said, Daniel. I mean, this is all being done just to prolong the will Punk be cleared or will he not won't be cleared. I honestly think he is going to be cleared, but they may. But I think they're probably going to go triple threat to probably just protect him, just to be on the safe side. Because if he's just now getting cleared and we're like weeks away, just to like let's try and protect them. That's why they had Seth Rollins come out, but it did feel forced because you like Michael Cole. Michael Cole even said this on commentary. He could have just apologized and not meant it. Like realistically, he just said, "Okay."
Like people have been doing since the beginning of time.
Yeah, exactly. He could just apologize, wouldn't have meant anything, and then he would have got his match. But I'm gonna call you. But I'm gonna call both of you out because y'all both have been calling this man a loser for weeks upon weeks upon weeks.
Me? Me?
Okay, we definitely have the clips of Dan going, he's a loser.
Exactly. So from a storyline perspective, if fans are calling this man a loser, what the fuck does he have to apologize for to the officials if the one guy he's programmed with has been the reason why he hasn't been world champion? So from a storyline perspective, why should he apologize?
I'm not saying he's a loser for hurting the officials and not apologizing. I'm calling him a loser because he gets pinned 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring for title matches. That's why I'm calling him a loser.
Due to the actions of the one guy he's programmed with.
Hey, by hook or by crook.
He should have been more prepared, right?
Yeah, like, come on. Get some help. Get some backup. Get some lackeys. Evolve. You're not going to get it done.
What did the refs ever do to him besides their job? It's not their fault that someone cashed in and they have to count during a cash in.
Yeah.
It's not their fault that
but question though,
he cashed in as well, which is actually even more funny because he cashed in.
Yeah, but seriously though, character work wise, I think this has been the best character work that Drew has done in and I don't know how long
since he's been in the company. Since he's been in the company.
Yeah,
he's been able to actually talk, air his grievances, be aggressive. Like, I think this is everyone's best work is going to be as a heel. Like, everyone's best work. If you can't make it as a heel, then you can't be in the wrestling business. You have to be able to do it as a heel, because that's the heel's able to show off more of their personality, a little bit more of their talent, be able to push the envelope a little bit more. So Drew McIntyre, of course, this is probably his best heel work, but this did feel a little forced. But it's like, I just hope that this does not delay the SummerSlam match. I hope it's not. It's 2 weeks away, so hopefully Punk gets cleared or whatever that he needs to get through with this elbow. Like, I don't know.
Hopefully. I mean, because like we said, after Punk cost him at the last show, it's just like, okay, it's mandatory. Like, this match has to happen now. I mean, how much more title losses can Drew rack up now? It's like, all right, we have to get to this match now, because like
what they need to do is just give him the titanium elbow like Lex Luger and just but we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully this match continues to be at SummerSlam and we actually get it. Hopefully we get another confrontation before SummerSlam, or Bad Blood, as Lewis has no issue with this first match happening on.
It's in the name. It's perfect. Name. Literally, it's all Bad Blood.
God damn it.
Hell in the Cell.
I don't think
it's personal enough. You might as well.
We haven't gotten there yet. They're saving those type of matches. But we'll see what happens with that as we continue on. Let's get into Damian Priest and Gunther's face-off. Damian Priest actually beating Braun Strowman clean. No issue, which I was surprised about. I thought he would have had some help in that match, especially with the way they've been making Braun Strowman terrorize the lower members of the Judgment Day: Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Carlito, etc. Just Damian Priest and Gunther facing off for their match at SummerSlam. Good promo work between the two. Gunther cutting in deep, saying Damian Priest is not a real champion. What did you say, Brian, earlier? Street trash?
Gunther went hard at Damian Priest. And I actually like the fact that Gunther did that, because going into that match before that promo, you saw signs that Priest was like, the baby facing it up. I mean, if you looked on social media, on one of the live events, him and Jey Uso had a moment where he helped Jey Uso up, and then they both yeeted together. But as far as Monday Night Raw goes, I mean, you saw bits and pieces of it, but you didn't definitely know if Priest was on that babyface side. And this promo pretty much cemented it with the way Gunther was coming at, the way he came up, taking shots at his parents for the way that he raised them, which I always love when they get personal to kind of bring something out in these type of feuds. And Gunther went there, and I love and Priest, his presence on the mic, with a deep voice and the way that he presents himself, that it honestly doesn't matter if he's babyface or heel. That he has that aura about him, which comes off like he can kick your ass at any moment. So that's why I love this match. I love this matchup between the two. And like you said, I actually love that he beat Braun Strowman clean. He's to rack up them victories as we speak, because as I'm calling it right now, Gunther is walking out of SummerSlam with the title. I mean, it's too obvious. Gunther.
I don't know. I keep telling y'all, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I think we all for sure know that Damian's been going towards the babyface side, just just ever since he won the title, with him trying to do it alone, trying to prove that he can do it, it's not giving off heelish vibes like he was before when he was just tag team champs with Finn and stuff. So he's definitely been on this babyface route. And like Brian said, this just kind of solidified it like more. I did like the promo interaction between the two, just like how everything that Gunther said, and you saw like Damian kind of be like, yo, like watch your mouth, or yo, you really going here by talking about my family, the way I was raised. Especially when you see it online, like some of the stuff I saw, like, look at these two guys. Who would have thought that they would be like, competing in the main event of Summerslam? And you see the old picture of like a hefty like Damian Priest and like an old picture of a blue-haired fucking Gunther and stuff. And it's like, look, these guys are in the main event of SummerSlam and stuff, So I honestly thought, WWE could have leaned into that, but I think they let him lean into it into the promo with him being like, Gunther just like being like, look, I'm excellence. Look, I was raised with these values, and WWE wanted me. I didn't have to claw and scratch my way into it because I bring prestige. I'm this good. I'm this great. I'm an amazing talent. He's like, you're just one of these people, these underdogs, or these guys that want these opportunities, but you can't hack it. And he played it into it very well. Into the whole, you're privileged. I had to fight for everything I wanted. So it was definitely a good babyface versus heel interaction. And I was honestly pleasantly surprised that Damian didn't get any help from the Judgment Day to beat John Strowman because he's a big dude. And I think for them to convincingly him get that win was like, I think definitely a good push for him and just making him look strong going into SummerSlam. So definitely surprised that he pulled out that win on his own. I don't know. I think it clearly it shows that Gunther is on this path to becoming champ, but is it going to be that easy? I don't know. We'll see.
And I think that's something that's pretty interesting in this build, right? Because Gunther hasn't been wrestling in like 2 months, right? So
he's in chill mode.
for him to just come out and just give this promo every single time, and I've been saying it since he's been doing this Ring General Intercontinental title streak, building this reign and this prestige that he's been talking about, this image that he's been talking about, and for him to just continue it and be like, yo, you're street trash. Like, you're not prestigious. You don't like, you're not a part of this prestigious part of wrestling, this class of wrestling. And really just trying to pick a side between the two, right? Like clean class wrestling versus the street guy who had to struggle, low class guy that's facing me, Gunther. And it's like, you're champion. And it's like, you shouldn't be champion. And really trying to distinguish that line between the two, which I think is great storytelling. Even though these guys haven't interacted all that much beforehand. But yeah, you can see the babyface side of Priest. He's doing all the stuff with Jey Uso, even backstage on Monday Night Raw, basically egging Dominik Mysterio to challenge Jey in backstage. And all these little things, these little interactions that he wants to stand on his own and wants to be his own man and be a proud champion. All the things that a heel doesn't say, right? Like a heel usually, hey, I need the help, usually weasels his way out, doesn't mind the help, and then acts like he does it on his own. Damian's trying to show a badge of honor with the title and stuff like that. So that's good to see in his promo work in this, and he's grown on the mic as well throughout all this as well, through his title reign. Even though it's not the strongest title reign, he is getting the wins. But we're seeing a different side of him trying to break through and try to get to that other side of saying, hey, I'm a proud champion. I don't need any help, et cetera, et cetera. But this is going to be interesting, and especially guys that are size-wise match up well. Damian's kind of really tall. Like I didn't next to Gunther, it's like Gunther's usually overpowering and taller than everybody else. But to see him actually stand next to Damian Priest, and it's like, oh, kind of even on this even footing here in terms of size-wise and strength-wise. So definitely going to be an interesting match. I can't wait. Definitely with these promos. Hopefully they continue to build on this as we head into WrestleMania. All right, let's get into Chad Gable and the Creed brothers attacking Bo Dallas. Wyatt 6 appears Chad Gable basically saying throughout the night, saying, "Hey, Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas. They're in cahoots together. They're the same person." Enlisting the Creed brothers to beat up Bo Dallas. What do you guys make of all this? Especially, I believe there was a promo by Eric Rowan. What do you guys make of this whole Wyatt Six Bo Dallas situation? And now Chad Gable and the Creed brothers are in it.
All right, Lewis. If you don't mind, I actually want to hear from Daniel on this one first because I know you said you were gonna, have a couple of comments on this. So I actually want to hear from you first.
One of the things that I've always been saying about this, I knew the presentation of the Wyatt Six was going to be better because it's in Triple H's hands. It's in this new direction of WWE where they're actually giving people leeway, creative, shining a light to many things that they do. But this Wyatt Six thing, I have said from the beginning, I don't know if it's going to work. And because Jim Ross said it best, he said the shadow of Bray Wyatt might just be too big. And that this mixed cast of characters, none of them are A-plus players. That's essentially what he was saying. Now, is Bo Dallas a good wrestler, good hand? Remember the Bo Leave whole thing, the B-team thing. He's been able to go different dips and valleys and been able to survive, right? I don't know if he's going to be able to survive this. And I said it because it's like, if they're able to do something different from what they did with the Fiend and the Wyatt family, et cetera, whatever the case may be, if they're able to differentiate from that and be able to carve out their own path for Bo, cool, I'm fine with that. But what they did Monday night was the same thing they did with the Fiend when he debuted, right? He got beat down and he kept getting up. And I understand this is supposed to be symbolism between the character of him and Uncle Howdy and how he's indestructible, but I just don't believe it with Bo Dallas or Uncle Howdy. Whatever situation they're going to try to go in this direction, if they're going to try to go through this whole invincible, like he's Mankind or he's a Kane or he's an Undertaker or he's a Bray Wyatt type or the Fiend type, I'm just not going to believe it. I'm just not. And that's going to hurt.
All right. Okay.
So for me, it didn't come off like he was invincible. It looked like they were just kicking his ass. Yes, he was, laughing throughout the whole thing, but I feel like that's just a nod to Bray. Because how many times did we see Bray ever this was before the Fiend though. Like even when he was cult leader, Bray would get attacked and beat up, and then would still be like laughing, or would still be like, "Come on, give me more! Like this is what I want." Destruction, pain, all this and that. I think it just builds into the character. I don't think it's like a whole Fiend thing where every finisher and you don't stay down type thing.
But that's where it's going to go. That's where it's going to go. He's going to change into Uncle Howdy.
I think they're going to learn from their mistakes because I think that was the big thing with the Fiend. The Fiend had such great presentation, but they didn't know
how to
utilize it as a wrestling character. Like, is this is a fictional character that's this horror monster type thing, but what do you do against a monster? Like, how do you, beat it? Mm-hmm. Which I think was the problem with the Fiend. This is looking like it's just a group of. I think that's why they're showing both sides. They're showing the human side with all the emotion, like they did with Eric Rowan, and then we're unleashing like our true I don't know, they're true characters. I guess I don't know. I think it's still them. I don't think it's supernatural characters.
I get that, but it's just like I just can't get behind it, and it's just like to me, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same thing. Now is Goldberg going to come back and spare him and win? No.
Now you're getting.
Why would you do that?
Super. Now you're getting.
He's trying to summon Goldberg in his own right. That's what Dan's trying to do. That's what he secretly wants. He's trying to summon the spirit of Goldberg back into WWE.
The spirit of Goldberg is just going to be in somebody else, and if that's a Braun Strowman, if that's a Jey Uso, whatever the case may be, I'm like, I don't see this playing out positively for this in the long run. I don't know. Just like with the Fiend, I don't know how much of a shelf life this has. That's all I'm saying.
I'm seeing it more as a sanity type thing. I don't see it as the fun house type characters. Yes, they might have their own creepy, like the rabbit, the mask. Yeah, but how many characters have we seen wear masks? We don't know if they're gonna take off these masks. We don't know if they're wrestling in masks. We don't know enough. I
saw the Fiend wrestle with his mask, and I hated it.
I love it. See, and that's why I loved the Fiend's mask because it was such a crazy presentation to me, and the aesthetic of it made it such a real monster. But my thing is the problem was how they handled it. They should have never done the red lights. They should have never made him invincible. They should have never made Goldberg beat him. But that made no sense whatsoever after everything that Seth did in the Hell in a Cell match. They handled him so wrong. And this was all under Vince. I think Triple H
you don't believe the spear and a jackhammer is stronger than a toolbox and a fake hammer?
All right, Daniel, I'll say this. Everything that you said is actually kind of like 100% fair and valid. I mean, these are all thoughts that fans had when they first were reintroducing this group from the beginning, right? Because and they addressed it in the first Uncle Howdy and Bo Dallas video when Uncle Howdy had asked him, "Do you feel like you're pimping off of your brother's legacy?" And I understand, and it was like when Triple H had mentioned it in the Bray Wyatt documentary when he was talking about how Bray Wyatt would have like how these outlandish ideas for this character, and Triple H would always go and ask him, "Okay, how do we get that in the ring?" And I always felt like that was always the issue. The Firefly Funhouse segments were always great. It was always when they got to the ring, whether it was against Seth Rollins, whether it was against Daniel Bryan with the lighting,
Braun Strowman.
The ring. That's when the issue started with the poor booking decisions and all of that. And I actually do think they're gonna wrestle without the mask. I think week after week now we're gonna keep getting these VHS tapes until SummerSlam. At the next tape, they're gonna probably show Joe Gacy, and then maybe the tape after that they may show Dexter Lumis, which I'm interested in seeing that, because if he actually does talk, that'll be something different. But like I said, it's all based upon how they book it in the ring. That was the number one problem with the Fiend. Firefly Funhouse segments were great, but then as soon as they tried to book it in the ring, it would always ended up being a problem. Do I think that this may have a shelf life? It's tough. It is tough to see, like, after they finish with Chad Gable. Okay, where do they go next? It's kind of like they have to feud with the top. Like we talked about it when they first debuted. They kind of have to feud with the top guys. So I'm thinking naturally Jey Uso is the next guy that they feud with. But like I said, again, it's all based upon how they book it in the ring. How they book it in the ring is going to determine if this has a shelf life or if it continues on.
Yeah, because and that's the thing. That's why I'm like, I'm very optimistic on it, just because like I said, I'm the horror fan. I like these type of aesthetics when it comes to like these characters and stuff, but I think from what we've seen with like the destruction of just like taking people out, and they're presenting them as like these characters that were forgotten and nobody else cares about them. That's why I say it's kind of giving me like the sanity or the type of retribution before the terrible booking and all that. Like I feel like they're trying to introduce them in a better manner of like how those groups came in,
I understand.
That's where I want kind of it like a Wyatt family. Well, I guess without the mythical crap to it, that came with the Fiend, because I think that was what hurt it too much. Like the Fiend was such a great concept, it was just like it didn't translate well into a wrestling character. Like it wasn't like a Kane, like, okay, Kane can lose or whatever. It was just like is this an actual monster or is it Bray?
Kane, when he first came out, he was very destructive and destroyed everybody.
And that's what I'm saying, you know. But they built layers into it, and he was able to lose and stuff. You know, that's why with the Fiend it was just like they made him too strong. I guess is what it was, and they didn't know how to handle it. So I just hope that as a group they treat them like wrestlers and not like we're spirits or some type of stuff, and I don't think that's what they're doing. So I don't know. I'm just hopeful. I hope it's not turns into anything corny and ruins it, because then,
as I said,
it just isn't going to work anymore.
I will. So sorry to cut you off, Jay, but I will say this: the Eric Rowan video, I actually felt that was actually very good. That's actually the second time in these VHS tapes where I actually got choked up a little bit listening to him, because he wasn't just talking Bray Wyatt, he was talking Luke Harper too. Brothers that he both lost. Like that, I think that was legit. That was nobody wrote that on the script. I think they literally just said talk about your brothers and what they mean to you and meant to you while you were in the Wyatt family. And he just talked, and that's literally what it felt like. So I like that.
Yeah, sure.
And they're doing the right thing. They're tugging on the emotional strings, right, and getting everybody in the feels. And I'm just like, I understand all that, but once it gets to the ring, what's going to happen? And I think that's the one thing that we're all trying to figure out and hope that it goes well. But it's like, I've been saying it from the beginning. The person who needs to be in the group is Braun Strowman. He's the guy that needs to be in the group. And Uncle Howdy can be the mouthpiece for him.
You know what? That's probably going to be the next feud. It makes too much sense. Trying to get him to join, and Braun's probably just going to be like, I'm done with that, and then they're probably just going to be chasing Braun for the next couple of months.
That's what I've been saying. I'm like, Braun has to be the leader. He has to be the de facto leader, because he's the guy that can put them in a different stratosphere in terms of what that. Yes, because
Braun doesn't look like, just because he's big, he doesn't seem like a leader to me.
No, but that's the thing. He doesn't have to be the guy that puts the words together and all that. Bo Dallas can do that. That's my whole thing for Bo Dallas. Do I think, again, this is what I've been saying to other people. I'm like, is Bo Dallas a main event guy? Not sure. I'm not going to sit there and try to shit on it, but it's like, is he going to be in that upper echelon of actually being that guy and be able to carry programs and stuff like that? I'm not sure if he's on that level. I'm not trying to hate on him or anything like that, but it's like, and then everything's going to be compared to Bray Wyatt, right? Like, he's not his brother, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, like, and that's another. JR, when JR said that is too much of a shadow, it's like, yeah, because it's like Bray was able to do all these things and get into these main event levels and should have been there and been in these type of situations that we knew he was destined for, when he was sitting in the rocking chair, rocking back and forth with the lantern and talking shit to people and speaking these mind games on the very lower level of Bray Wyatt, right? And the Fiend and the character and all of the Sister Abigail and all that stuff going with it. It's like, can Bo Dallas do that and then perform in the ring? I'm not sure.
Hell yeah, it's one of those wait and see.
I'm very hopeful, again, but I also think
I do not want this group to fail. That's not the thing I'm trying to say. I do not want this to fail.
I think like you said, it is that, and I think that's the hard part, is that it's always going to be compared to Bray.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bo has a lot to prove and wants to honor his brother's memory the best way he can. So I think he's going to do whatever he can to make this work. Mm-hmm. Will it work? So far for me, it is. It's not. It hasn't. It didn't. It's not dragging out how when Uncle Howdy was first introduced, because I felt like that was dragged out way too long.
Yes.
So the way they're slowly, the tapes introducing Bo, introducing each character, I think is working very well. And the payoff has to be worth it. If it's another like Uncle Howdy with little flashes here and there, and then you see him and we don't know anything or what he is, who he is, that's where it's gonna miss. But I think where they're doing all this character building, the payoff has to be, if the payoff doesn't work, then the group isn't gonna work. So
All right,
Yeah.
so do you guys think for SummerSlam they're gonna go Chad Gable versus Bro Dallas 1-on-1, or do you think they're gonna go 6-man with since the Creed brothers are now involved?
It's got to be 6-man.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Yeah, it's got to be a 6-man.
Yeah,
It's got to be a 6-man. Got to be a 6-man. But yeah, we hope this group goes well. We all have different opinions on it, but it's just like I want this to work. When people sit there and say, "Oh, you're just trying to trash on it," I'm like, it's just too much of a hill to climb, in my opinion, because how great Bray was and how great Eric Rowan and Luke Harper were. Like people forget about those guys involved with Bray Wyatt as well. Yeah. And it's like that group was so empowering and so different. Yeah, it's like it's tough, man. It's tough, but we'll see how it goes.
I also think all the guys that they have in this group definitely fit well. Obviously, the Dexter Lumis with the creepiness he had. Joe Gacy had his own cultish type thing in NXT,
and they both did in the ring.
And then we got he's great in the ring. And then you got Nikki Cross, who's always just kind of had that weird, creepy element to her. I think it all fits. And for me, I don't want to knock Bo Dallas just because of what we saw him do in the past. I feel like, he had his Bo Leave thing that worked in NXT that didn't translate well on the main roster. But then I feel like he didn't really get that chance to shine. He got put in the comedy spots, and then he was a jobber. But it was just like he was one of those I was like, dude, you were so good in NXT, and then it just didn't. It was I feel like his character just didn't. Was one of those that just didn't translate well to a main roster run, and he got put into that spot that he got put in.
Yep. He was one of the victims of the disconnect between NXT and the main roster at the time when Vince was in charge. Whenever he brought these guys up and took everything away from them that made them successful in NXT and just changed everything. Yeah, he was one of those victims of that disconnect.
Same as how good Neville was, and it was like that should have been an easy transition. And
from this dude in the Mighty Mouse, like what the fuck. Never.
Cape.
Like, come on. Like,
oh man.
Especially when you see the stuff that he's doing now in AEW as Pac as being a bastard and stuff, it's just like you could have literally just did that from jump. And they tried to do it when he was in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
Cruiserweight division. Who cares?
But they put a cap on him. Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, we'll see where this goes. Hopefully it goes well. We'll see what they continue with the VH tips, the vignettes. And I just want to say one thing. Like, if this group came in as Insanity, it was just causing havoc and beating up, this probably would have been the right cast of characters to do it. But in this form with the Wyatt 6, I'm just like, I don't know. We don't know what it is yet. But we'll see. But I thought it would have worked better if it was Insanity type feel. But we'll see what happens with it. Continuing with the Creed brothers and Chad Gable. Hopefully, at least do a 6-on-6 tag match, and we actually see this in ring and see what actually happens. But we'll see. Let's continue on with other Raw notes here. Let's get through it. Sheamus defeating Bronson Reed in a highly anticipated match. And then Pete Dunne coming out, saving Sheamus, and then actually feeding him to Bronson Reed's Typhoon Splash. What do you guys think about Pete Dunne? Actually, is this a heel turn? Is he just standing up for himself? What do you guys make?
Now, I am so glad that they're going in this direction and going back to heel Pete Dunne, because I was done with him in the tag team with Tyler Bate. No disrespect to Tyler Bate. I mean, but
did Tyler Bate get hurt?
Yeah, Tyler Bate got injured. Okay. I think he's going to be out for the rest of the year.
Damn!
That's why I like Tyler Bate, man. I like Tyler Bate.
Yeah, I know. Sucks for Tyler Bate. Wish him the best. But when they were in the tag team together, you didn't get the true Pete Dunne. Everyone remembers the heel Pete Dunne from the UK title tournament that ended up becoming UK champion for over
cruiserweight.
Yeah, the cruiserweight UK champion for over 600 days. Everybody remembers that Pete Dunne, and that's always been the best Pete Dunne. Never really got into him whenever he had these baby face runs. Definitely wasn't into him when they changed him to a Butch and put him with Ridge Holland and Sheamus. So this version of Pete Dunne is the best version of him, and I'm glad that he's healed again. Perfect guy to go after in Sheamus. There's the story there of kind of how Sheamus kind of abandoned the Brawling Brutes, which kind of sent Ridge Holland to NXT, and then kind of left Pete Dunne on an island by himself. So I love that, and yeah. heel Pete Dunne is the best Pete Dunne. So that's the most positive thing you can get out of that.
Yeah, Bruiserweight Pete Dunne was definitely his best work, and I think slowly we're finally getting back to that. Hopefully it's not too late. Hopefully the story that they go from here works out in his favor. Yeah, because I feel like Pete Dunne was definitely another one who should have easily transitioned same character to the main roster and probably could have already had some mid-card titles at this point, but got put in some tag teams and got the name change and we got what we got, but hopefully we're going back to kind of that, maybe not the same character, but maybe a more evolved heel character, I guess. I don't know, but it's good to see.
We just got to get an ass-kicking Pete Dunne. That's what we need. We need somebody just kicking ass, showing those maneuvers when he's breaking people's fingers at a more deliberate pace, the suplexes, the impact that he had as this undersized guy, beating top-level talent, mid-carders, whatever the case may be, putting on bangers. That's what we need. And hopefully we get that with Sheamus, maybe even potentially Bronson Reed. But I think this is just Pete Dunne I need to stand up for myself at this point in time in my career and make it. And I think that's where he's at in his career. But to talk quickly about Tyler Bate, you want to know what happened with Tyler Bate? They changed his song. That's what happened.
Really?
They changed the song. Stop changing the music that works. Stop.
They've been changing a lot of people's music. They changed
what they need to do with Tyler Bate when he comes back is rehire Trent Seven and bring back Mustache Mountain. That was a legit tag team. That's what we need to see. That's what we need to see.
I like Tyler Bate on his own, man. I like Tyler Bate on his own. They just
were a tag team. They were good. They put on some great matches on some of them NXT UK cards and such. So yeah, that's what you do with Tyler Bate. Yeah, rehire Trent Seven and bring back Mustache Mountain.
No.
But you have Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne feud over the Intercontinental title, and you have them just go banger for 3 months. That's what they need to do. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens with Pete Dunne in this new turn, if it's a heel turn or if it's just a pride turn or whatever the case may be. We'll see what it is. What do you guys make of Sonya Deville returning not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, getting the win over Zelina Vega, and then Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark defeated I can't remember who they defeated, but they all got wins on Monday Night Raw.
I think
Katana Chance and
Katana Chance and Carter, and then Deville beat Zelina. Yeah. But
yes, they got the wins, and I've been saying this for the longest time. when they had Shayna Baszler, when they had Ronda Rousey, and they were sitting there trying to figure out what to do, and they were cutting bad promos, and they were trying to be tough, and I said the first thing that they should do, get Sonya Deville. Get Sonya Deville, and this is probably the version that we are getting with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Both of those women tremendous in the ring. Not the best on the mic, trying to find their characters. Who's a person who has a strong character that can talk on the mic, that was general manager of SmackDown at one point, who was out there doing certain things with having certain storylines. I believe, having storylines out there. Good in ring, doesn't have to be the best in ring. Sonya Deville, I've been saying it forever. Just have her be the mouthpiece, the vocal point for a team. That's all I wanted. Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll say this: you have been calling for this for the longest time, and honestly, with the way Ronda Rousey has been running her mouth in the media lately, talking about WWE and everything that's happened behind the scenes with creative, I'm assuming that they probably did have that idea of pairing Sonya Deville up, but because Ronda had that hard out in her contract to be done by SummerSlam, they probably just the plans never came together with the way that she's been talking about the company in the media, but. Mm-hmm. But like you said, it's the perfect role for Sonya Deville. Like I said, she's great on the mic. I mean, that's the reason why she was SmackDown general manager. I mean, you don't get that position unless you have the character that reflects that. And she did a hell of a job when she was general manager, and she fits both of them perfectly. Now, moving forward, they should be what Damage Control was on SmackDown for all those months last year. Not they should dominate. They should be dominant against everybody. Obviously, the first feud is going to be with Damage Control, which we're assuming now. Damage Control is probably going to be baby faces now, but. Well,
they can't be baby faces.
Yeah, man. At this point, I mean, who are you going to cheer for out of those three?
They're going to feud with this group. They're going to feud with Lyra Valkyria and Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Like that's who they're going to feud with.
I mean, you don't think Damage Control is just selling the attack? So you don't think Damage Control is going to appear on Monday Night Raw?
Because Io's been full blown heel this whole time, and she's been talking about how Damage Control needs to change. So either maybe they're going to come back with new members, like either they're going to kick out Dakota Kai or something like that, or something. But I don't think they're going to come back as baby faces. They might get a baby face pop, but they're not coming back as baby faces.
I mean, if they're feuding with what Lyra, Katana Chance, and Kaden Carter, I mean, they just beat Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, so it's like,
yeah, but it's got to be a full like 3-on-3. So I don't know.
It's got to keep building, Brian.
Yeah.
KC2 is not going away this time. Yeah. They're actually going to be on TV, Brian. Okay, they're not just going to go away.
All right, and I would probably get flagged, but I disagree with everything you guys just said. Sonya Deville is not a good character. I'm sorry.
Look at Mr. Negativity here.
You don't like the prize fighter?
What prize has she won?
Not prize.
What prize has she won?
Prize.
Sonya Deville done besides being? I never even understood why she became general manager. To me, that was kind of a downgrade because it's like you can't cut it in the ring, so let's make you a general manager. I saw it as a promotion. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but they don't just hand out that position.
Yes, they do. Baron Corbin was general manager at one point.
But you have to be better than decent on the mic to have that position, though. I'm just saying you have to be better than decent on the mic. I have very above average mic skills to be for them to make you general manager.
That's fine, but I'm sorry. To me, Sonya Deville's character has always been the same. She's like, but she's never like won. Like, she never got like a run to be like on this level of like, oh look, I did so good. Look, now I'm general manager, and it never came off like.
Did it always fit? No, but she's now in the right role, Lewis. That's what we're talking about.
Same thing, though. She's doing the same thing she was as general manager.
Okay, but that's fine.
That was good, though.
He just needs to be the
mouth. That wasn't good.
He just needs to be the mouthpiece for Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, who are struggling to find their characters. But they're great in ring. They kick ass. So, like,
I'm sorry. I think for me, the idea of Shayna Baszler, I don't know. I hate to say it.
Negative.
No, and you've said this too. We've all kind of said this. What was supposed to be done with Shayna Baszler at this point, that time has passed. And now they've learned in Zoe Starks, who I'm sorry, she honestly be on her own and just taking names and getting wins. She's getting lured into the same thing. And now you're bringing in Sonya Deville, who again has done nothing, won no titles, but now she's the mouthpiece for these characters.
Okay, that's fine.
Characters. There's nothing.
What do you want her to be? What do you want her to be? World champion?
I want her to be something new and exciting, not the same stuff they've been doing this whole time.
This is new and exciting.
It's not. It's the same thing.
Realistically, when you say new and exciting, I mean, what else can you really do with?
I'm talking about a new version of themselves. What is the difference between what they're doing now to compare to the last couple of years?
Okay, but they have a mouthpiece. How many tag teams throughout wrestling history have we seen have the mouthpiece that got them over? What do you think Jimmy Hart has been doing? What do you think Bobby the Brain Heenan was doing? What do you think?
You're talking about different eras. You're talking more about in this era.
Okay, but the one thing that has been missing from wrestling is this. We've gotten it with Paul Heyman, but that's more in a single role, right? Like a single player role, right? Like a main event guy. tag teams had managers. That has not happened for a long time in wrestling.
I'm not saying the idea of the manager. I'm just saying either reinvent them as a team. Don't just have them still do the same thing. Oh, now we got Sonya Deville.
What do you want Shayna Baszler to do? Juggle?
Listen to this.
How about change up her presentation? Change up who they are. Change some because she's been doing the same thing the entire time. And what has she gotten? Tag team titles. Tag team titles.
So what was
no mouthpiece this time?
These people
gets a little push, they get knocked down.
These people,
they're not.
These people are fighters, UFC fighters. What do you want? What did you want Ken Shamrock to be? A comedy guy?
But this is what I'm saying, though. Everything that should have already been done should have happened, and it didn't. And it's taken way too long. It's taken way too long to get them back to what Shayna had in NXT. It's taken way too long.
Today, Lewis, is a new day.
Oh,
unintended.
Lewis, as far as Shayna and Zoe go, Shayna and Zoe have been a tag team for what, like a couple of months now.
And longer than that.
Yeah,
it's been longer than that
for a minute, and they've gotten title opportunities, and they keep coming up short. And this is what's supposed to take them over the top. That's how they're telling the story. You get the mouthpiece to take you over the top. Odds are they're probably going to be the next tag team champions now because I don't know what the hell
and it's going to be, and I guarantee it's going to be boring as hell. It is going to be boring. I'm sorry. Come on, wasn't who were Shayna's other partners? Nia.
Yeah, Nia. I think that was it.
But that's when the tag team division. That's when the tag team division had no tag teams. Was a cluster.
Name me the other tag teams right now besides
KC2, Bianca and Jade, Alba Fire, Ilya Dawn, Damage Control, whatever variation of that is.
Yeah, that's a couple. Yeah, that's
where
four.
Where have they all been?
There's a couple.
Where have they all been?
Well, Damage Control
now is the. It's a new day, Lewis. It is a new day.
You're making it seem okay.
It is a new.
You see how you've named all those tag teams? Why aren't all these teams popping right now? Where's this tag team?
Okay. But didn't we just see how the tag team division on the men's side has been picking up with DIY?
We're not talking about the men's division. We're talking about
Judgment Day.
We're talking about the women's division right now.
Hey,
I'm sorry. Why are we talking about the men when we're talking about the women right now?
I'm just saying, we've seen how teams were non-existent and they're slowly building into it. Give it a chance to breathe, Lewis. That's all I'm saying. Just give it a chance to breathe.
I'm going to say this right now. I guarantee this team does nothing. I guarantee it. I'm sorry. You can call me negative all you want because
they are going to win the tag team titles. They're going to win the tag team titles.
Unless they go on a freaking war path where they're actually racking up wins, actually beating people. Because we've seen it done before many times with Shayna Baszler. She gets a win here and there, and then she loses and loses and loses. They've done the push. For me, they've done the push start too many times. What worked for her in NXT should have already been done, and it's never come to fruition.
What do you think this is? Cameron Grimes? Everybody just goes to the moon? What do you think this is?
She should have been the one to go to the moon. She should have been the champ right now.
What did the booking do? They had her become a vampire.
It's destroyed her. It has destroyed her because now she's not believable. She's not believable as a champion anymore.
Yeah, so Shayna Baszler suffers from Piper Niven and Karrion Kross syndrome because people are still getting the bad taste out of their mouth for the horrible booking, right?
For me, that's what it is. Shayna had an amazing run, was the first two-time NXT champ, and has floundered on the main roster for a very long time. It hasn't just been like 2 years. It's been like.
So what should she do? Just quit?
7?
So we're not going to give her credit for retiring Ronda Rousey?
There you bring up that match. I'm just saying. The worst match on that card. What was it? SummerSlam?
Yeah, that was last year's
match. That's what you want to give her credit for?
She retired.
That's your argument, Brian? Shame. You want to give her credit for that too?
So negative.
No,
Negative.
it's called truth. It's called truths.
But we'll see what this goes. Hopefully, no more negative Nancy's, and we're actually seeing this evolution of
when
this
I have
group.
criticism is negativity. When you have criticism,
Okay.
it's truth and facts.
Okay, Lewis. If they were to win the tag team titles, would they have to like hold them for like a year for them to be satisfied?
I will be satisfied when they look dominant. That's just my issue. Too many times we've seen Shayna get these short pushes and then they lose. Short push, lose. Short push, lose. New tag team partner. New this, new that. It's the same thing.
I mean, that happens in wrestling.
Unless I see what they did with damage control and actually take people out, get wins, rack them up, maybe it'll change.
Whoa. Let me just say this. Damage control was a thorn in a lot of people's sides, but they always lost.
Yeah. But then they brought new people in. They brought in Asuka. They brought in Kairi Sane. That's when
last time I checked, they still lost. Because that happens.
We talked about that in the beginning.
Because that happens in professional wrestling.
Did they not have all the gold? Did they not have all the gold?
Okay, so
that's an established faction. If you keep losing and never win anything.
Okay, today
we know how much prestige there is in the women's tag titles. Come on now.
Today is a new day, Luke.
Oh Lord.
Let's see where it goes.
All right.
But let's continue on here since we're trying to get more positive. Let's get to Braun Breaker breaking up the IC title match between Sami Zayn and Ilya Dragunov. What do you guys make of that? And just eventually we need to get this triple threat right between these guys.
Honestly, who didn't see this coming though? Like seriously. Like as soon as they announced that was the main event, I'm like, anytime somebody gets kicked out of the arena, you know they're coming right back. I mean,
right.
They made it so obvious. Braun even said, "Yeah, I'm going to break up this match," and then Adam Pearce said, "That's why I'm going to make sure that you leave the building." Like this motherfucker wasn't going to come back and wreak havoc. Like I didn't even watch this main event because I just looked up the result and I saw Braun Breaker came and it ended in a no contest. So it's like it makes like I get it, but it's time. We need to have this one-on-one match with Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn. I thought that should have been the result of that Money in the Bank. I don't even know why we're even prolonging this until SummerSlam. I just think Braun should already be IC champion, and looks like they're gonna go triple threat. It'll be an entertaining match. I mean, love Ilya Dragunov, but I feel like Braun Breaker should already be a IC champion. And I just think that they're just prolonging it for whatever reason.
Yeah. We know why they're prologuing it because Sami Zayn was the guy that ended Gunther's 666 whatever day reign as IC champion. They can't just have him lose to the new guys right off the bat. There has to be a little bit more built-in story with it. They can't just have that end right away like that.
Yeah, then you didn't need to have him feud with Braun right after Chad Gable. Then you could have had him go. You could have had him feud with somebody else. I mean, even though I'm gonna name this person, he's on SmackDown, but you could use him right now. What's Shinsuke Nakamura been doing? Since I've been out here in Florida, I've had a lot of free time to be on social media, and he's been the number one guy that everyone's been complaining about. Like, well, where's he been? Where's he been? We need him back. Like, he's perfect to slide into a feud with Sami Zayn because they actually have history together. So
he needs to fight Logan. He needs to fight Logan Paul. That's what Shinsuke needs to do.
Oh man,
they can start that angle. But yeah, man, this triple threat, in my opinion, needs to happen because it's three guys that can go in the ring, very technical, very sound, and can probably put on one of the best matches of the year. Definitely interested to see where it goes. Hopefully, we get that match. Hopefully, we get a new champion at some point of Braun Breaker because we've been saying forever, Sammy doesn't need the title. I understand it's a good babyface run. He's a guy that you can always use and depend on in the ring and stuff like that. But it's like there's something. I feel like there's always that main event level for Sami Zayn that we never gotten, and hopefully we get it at some point. Maybe that's what it is. We'll see what happens.
Don't you want Sammy to become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion?
That's not. I have never said that on the show.
I'm just saying, why do we want him to lose the title so bad? Why can't he just become the next greatest?
Wait, whoa. What I've said is that he can't lose the title because he beat Gunther. and Gunther's impact on that IC title, he can't lose it as yet. Can't lose it as yet.
I think he could hold it for another 2 years, maybe, you know.
Okay.
Just slow it down here.
Bring prestige, you know. It's prestige reigns, you know. No short reigns anymore, you know.
And plus, Sammy doesn't need the IC title. I mean, we're gonna need him in a couple of months. Assuming he might end up being in this bloodline feud. You never know.
No, I think that's past. But he could be a lateral move that comes in and helps. Imagine he comes in to say it to help out Roman Reigns.
Yeah. After all the shit he did in your hometown, bro.
He's gonna be like, "Hey, Oos." He's gonna be like, "Hey, Oos."
Oosie.
Started back up.
Very oosie today.
Started back up, man. Oh man, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But let's get into Stephanie Vaqerer signing with WWE. Prestige CMLL champion down in Mexico. And recently just debuted. I believe they had a WWE had a showing in Mexico where she debuted. So she's already wrestling. Apparently going to be going to the NXT. I believe she's going to probably be feuding with Roxanne Perez, as Roxanne Perez called her out, and Julia on NXT this past week. So what do you guys make of this signing, especially with all the controversy behind her signing such a short deal after appearing on AEW to face Mercedes Moné a couple weeks ago?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was hilarious at first when because it's kind of funny because she was on Forbidden Door, had that great match with Mercedes Moné, and I guess apparently she looked at that. She was using that match as kind of like a tryout because right after WWE, here comes WWE, and then it was revealed that WWE has been her dream job. I think she had tried out for them a couple of times, but the timing wasn't right. Mm-hmm. And now that she has this opportunity, she's taking full advantage of it. I mean, I actually thought that initially that she was going to go with AEW because she had been exposed to AEW's audience. The crowd is familiar with her, and I actually thought that as soon as that match was over, that Tony Khan had his checkbook ready for her when she came back through the curtain, and that she was just going to sign with them. But WWE was her dream. If you read the dirt sheets, the rumor was that when she was with CMLL that she was supposed to drop the CMLL women's title and another title at CMLL's I think it was Fantastica Mania show. She was supposed to drop the titles there, but WWE came by with their offer, and because it's and with the way WWE works, they offer you a contract, if you get hurt. But if you get injured before you sign, they can pull the contract back. So she was probably trying to protect herself. That's what they're saying. And then there's also other dirt sheet rumors that I guess apparently when she was in CMLL, she was dating a wrestler, and I guess that wrestler tried to assault her, and then that wrestler ended up going to jail. And now that wrestler I think is up for parole, and I think some of the CMLL guys like Roosh and Dralistico that are with AEW are kind of supporting him. So that's kind of the reason why she didn't want to go to AEW, if you believe the dirt reports. But glad. Yeah. That's what I said when I read the report. I was just like, "Are you serious?" That's crazy. But Roxanne did mention her and Julia on NXT, which I loved, because I actually didn't even think I knew that Julia was going to be a part of NXT, but they hadn't made it official. I mean, I know they showed her on NXT and featured her, but they didn't actually say that Julia was officially signed. But so Roxanne pretty much confirmed that. So that's going to be very interesting moving forward. But I think Roxanne, from what I saw on NXT, I think she's feuding with Thea Hale now, which is going to be yeah. So that's going to be a very interesting. But happy for Stephanie. I saw a couple of the highlights of the match that she had in Mexico with Isla Dawn. It was definitely very good action. She's accomplished her dream. Now she's in WWE. She'll be in NXT. People are already talking about the dream match between her and Julia. So that's something to look forward to. So good get for WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know about all that stuff at all.
I knew about the other stuff. I didn't know about the guy on parole and he's getting out and signing with AEW. I didn't know about all that.
I didn't know too much about her. I know it's been making waves that she's been signed with WWE, but I think we all kind of thought just because she was on Forbidden Door, we thought like that was probably going to be another person that was going, to AEW, but not everybody's always gonna, choose to go that way, and we'll see what what she does in WWE. Like I don't know, like especially I've heard about Julia a lot, and that they signed her. I don't know why they still haven't. Like I feel like there's a lot of people who still they've signed but still haven't used. Like we've heard about Motor Machine. What is it that tag team? Like
See, that's actually one of the signings I didn't like because it's like the tag team division hasn't been like WWE's like top focus right now. So to bring them in is kind of just like, why?
As I said, they're building that up. If that's allegedly, I'm just saying, be patient, guys.
I don't know. The thing, I feel like the focus hasn't been tag teams. It's just been factions. Because like if you look at, it's we got Wyatt 6, we got Final Testament, we got Judgment Day, we got the Bloodline. It's more faction based, and I feel like Judgment Day has the tag titles, but it's like I don't know. It's not the main.
The Judgment Day already had the tag titles. That's just
they have them now. They have them now. They didn't have them.
Whoa. You mean the Little Caesars tag team titles?
Better than them fucking nickels and pennies, bro.
Hey, it is true. They're way better than that. So, hey, it is what it is.
But no, go ahead, Louis.
No, there's just like there's just like a lot going on right now. So we'll see how it plans out with these. If they're all just gonna go straight to NXT. Hopefully, it brings in a new wave of female wrestlers that obviously aren't like brand new wrestlers, but we'll see how well they do there and if they can do stuff that kind of catapults them onto the main roster. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the signing for WWE. It came out of a kind of a thief in the night type of thing, right? Because we saw her on AEW, and then we saw AEW Forbidden Door, and then we saw her with CMML. She was supposed to have those title matches that were supposed to be leave before any departure. But the main thing I thought about this was just how another one slips through the cracks for Tony Khan, right, in AEW. Because even though I believe Brian said that under contract she can't sign another contract or whatever the case may be, but the talk should have been had. Like how do you have her appear on Forbidden Door and then not sign with your company, especially after the reaction she got, after the match she had? Like there's just something.
Unless before they booked that, she knew that she was WWE bound, and that because remember they booked that match just so she could drop that New Japan title to Mercedes. So I wonder if she knew ahead of time that WWE has interest. So let me just drop this New Japan title because initially I think Mercedes was supposed to win that title before she broke her foot, and they had to change the finish to Willow. So that was Mercedes' title anyway. So they probably just thought, hey, let's just give the title to Mercedes. It was supposed to be hers, and they probably worked it out that way.
And apparently that she rubbed the New Japan the wrong way too because she was supposed to have dates over there as well, I believe. But it's just like how does AEW let that slide through the cracks? How like this
I feel like it was probably like she already had obligations where she couldn't sign, and once that time came she was like, no, I'm going with WWE, so I feel it was probably a situation where like maybe her stuff wasn't up yet and she already knew she wanted to go to WWE and everybody is gonna go to AEW.
Now she's going to NXT, and Julia's gonna go to NXT, and it's just like I think what NXT is now, they're just in a new state of a wave, right? Because they have Sol Ruka, they have Kalani Jordan, they have a young talent pool there, and now Roxanne Perez, even though she's been on the roster 2-3 years now, she's kind of like a vet that can probably move up at some point, right? So looking at it from that standpoint, they're probably looking to bring those people to probably send Roxanne Perez off and then have those women be the face of NXT, which would be dope because NXT has been doing great. I saw the Sol Ruka Kalani Jordan match, and I'm like, these women have only been in WWE for 12 months. So give kudos to those two.
Exactly. That's what I thought was crazy. Like those two gymnasts, they weren't wrestlers that trained on the independents. They were gymnasts that were trained as wrestlers. So to put them together a match like that, amazing.
And WWE has always been like that, right? They've always been the people that have to go after athletes or Olympic wrestlers, football players, basketball players, judo people, judo fighters and stuff like that. So they've always been outside the box. But to get two gymnasts and do that, to find talent everywhere, in NXT changing, ever evolving, they have Ethan Page there as the NXT champion. All the things they're doing that is just moving so quickly. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with NXT when Stephanie Valkyrie goes there, when Julia goes there, and see what they're going to do, because I'm definitely intrigued by this and seeing what she's going to be able to do in WWE. Let's move on to the other company, which we have not talked about in a while, with the match for the AEW. Was that the Intercontinental what is that? They got so many belts in AEW. International Championship. MJF and Will Ospreay going for an hour. Yes, an hour on free TV. What do you guys make of this clash between MJF, who now is a heel out of nowhere?
Not out of nowhere.
It wasn't out of nowhere.
Like it's out of nowhere, man.
It wasn't out of nowhere.
Yeah, it wasn't out of nowhere. Like if you saw how it went down, you would know. Like, yeah, it was coming. He had to go back to being that MJF.
And it's needed. It's needed for AEW. So that's definitely a pivot that they needed to make. But it's just like we just never got that ending with Adam Cole. So that's why
weird.
yeah, I understand, but it's just like, damn, that's how long it's been. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate what happened to Adam Cole, because if he was healthy, that story would have went in so much better direction, and that Undisputed Kingdom group would be better off right now, because now they just look like complete jokes, because it's just like you got a leader who's not cleared, and now you guys are just floundering now, and nobody cares. That's been Roger Strong's best character work of his career. Yeah, but I did catch some highlights of this match. When they first announced it, I was one of the first people that said, why are you doing this now? Why not save this for All In? All In is literally in like a month or so. I mean, you got Will Ospreay. I mean, you're going to be back in London. And MJF being the biggest heel in the company. I mean, match literally screams 80,000 at Wembley Stadium. But I think the thinking was, because this was Dynamite's 250th episode, and because Tony Khan is so ratings oriented, and they got this media deal coming up that looks like it's never going to close. We never know when it's going to close. One week he's saying that it's going to close. The next week he's saying it might be some complications. So they'll just announce it when they announce it. So I guess that was the thinking. Man, it was for what I saw. It was very good. Well, with Will Ospreay, I mean, you're always going to get 5-star match quality out of him. I saw a lot of complaints about the match. A lot of people, they don't really get into the whole 1 hour clinic matches. I mean, those type of matches, they do have like a certain audience of people who just love in-ring work. I mean, there's a lot of people who look at, like, for instance, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania, the Iron Man match. There's some people who look at that match and say that the length of it is what killed it, and that it wasn't as good. But if you're an in-ring technician, there's an example right there. So sometimes those long matches, they definitely are an acquired taste. But from what I saw, it was very, very entertaining. MJF coming out on top in the end. I wasn't too sure about that decision, but knowing the way Tony Khan books, I already know what he's thinking. Wants Will Ospreay to come out on top in his hometown. That's literally what he's thinking. I know they're going to do this match again, and Will Ospreay is probably going to come out top in his hometown.
Whoa. He could be doing the whole WWE. Hey, you don't win in your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Shawn Michaels did beat the British Bulldog for the European title in one night only in Europe, in the UK. So he could be trying to do that and piss off 80,000 fans.
That's how you get a reaction, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but from what I saw, it was a very good match. It is definitely something that I'm definitely going to take a look at and actually watch all of Dynamite, because from what I read on Twitter and such, it actually was one of their better shows. I mean, this match took up the first hour, and then the second hour, I think they had Mercedes Moné defending the title against Nyla Rose, and then I think they had Swerve one-on-one against Okada. Well, which I think ended in a no contest, and then we ended up finding out who the remaining members for Team AEW was going to be for Team AEW versus Team Elite in Blood and Guts next week. But so it was a good show. Yep, it was a good. So from what I saw, it was a great match. Definitely something I'm going to take a look at so I can actually watch the match in its entirety. And glad we got heel MJF back. Yeah.
Yeah, like Dan said, this was not out of nowhere, because we all know MJF does his best work as a heel, and obviously, he was on his.
I'm just saying, it's a loophole. It's like a cliffhanger to that whole Adam Cole thing. Like, we never know what's gonna happen.
It's not because he was out. Like, obviously, Adam Cole was out with injury. But once that happened, MJF went out on injury as well. He was hurting too, because for those who was watching AEW, he was working a lot, and he was having crazy matches. Or it was just like he needed that break, and he needed to heal his body and everything. But I did watch majority of this match, and this match was very good. I was very shocked, going at least probably at the 30-minute mark. I was like, Jesus Christ, this match is still going. I was like, is this going to be the whole show? I was like, Jesus. But there were some great spots in it, and Will Ospreay was definitely great. And I mean, I don't know how much injury, how well people can sell injuries in matches, but there were some segments where I know they showed a segment of him popping his shoulder out, and then during the match, he has the medical team kind of pop it back in. I don't know how real that is. That does actually happen to some people sometimes. But example, Sami Zayn legit just flinging his arms out, and he just threw it out the socket right before his match with John Cena.
That sucked, yo. I remember. On your debut too, really.
Yeah. I was so mad.
He was too hyped.
That's exactly what it was. He was too hyped, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a lot of great spots in that match, and I feel like I watched probably legit 45 minutes of the match, and then I think I fell asleep right at the end, and I woke up to literally the 3 count and just seeing. I'm like, wait, who won? And it was MJF, and I just see them putting the oxygen mask on him. He's like. Because he just went legit. I guess he won at the very last second of the match. But I do know that he used the dynamite ring to kind of cheat and win or whatever. So
classic MJF. That's what we love.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've been trying to watch AEW. I haven't been able to catch it, all of it week to week. I know I have been seeing stuff about the blood and guts stuff, but as far as what I saw from this match and a lot of the spots they had, some crazy, a couple crazy pile drivers, and I know with MJF also doing that. I don't know if it was a tombstone, but it was to Daniel Garcia. Didn't he do a pile driver off the second rope or whatever?
Yeah, the tombstone off the top rope. Yeah.
One of the most, I think, the craziest spots was MJF was I know he went out the ring and he was like, I'm the smartest wrestler here. And all you see is Ospreay just come out with the elbow from behind through the ring. It was just bam. And I was just I don't know how you don't knock somebody out like that, but these guys are professionals. And definitely a great match. I definitely recommend you guys to watch it. Yeah. I do got to watch the ending, but it was, for the most part, at least the technicality and obviously I wasn't sure how their styles were going to mesh well together, but it was definitely a very entertaining match.
So I did see the table spot with MJF when he did the elbow through the table.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I was like, dude, isn't that how you broke your hip in the first place? Why you were out for all that time?
I almost got the Edge vibe a little bit, but he landed it a little better.
Nothing is worse than the Edge vibe. Nothing.
Leave Edge alone.
Edge did like a pencil drop and just like literally jumped with a pencil drop and then
He thought he was jumping in. He thought he was jumping
older.
in.
He couldn't gauge how far away the thing was, and he didn't want to over jump it. So that's what he did.
He thought he was jumping in the pool.
Should just did a splash, man. I don't know why he did an elbow.
Yeah. He would have made it with the splash easy.
Bro, if you had done a splash,
honestly, I think with that, for some reason, I feel like wherever that table was, I feel like it was too close. And he was like, if I splash, I'm gonna overshoot this. So I have to literally just go like, whoop. And he was just like, I don't have enough space to literally flatten out. So I just gotta do this however I can.
Oh my God. But yes, I saw highlights of the match. Looked intense, of course, with Will Ospreay and stuff like that, and MJF becoming this performer over the past year of putting on these long matches, brutal matches that he's been able to do, even as a heel. Definitely stepping up his ring work. There was an interaction with a little kid. MJF is the most hated heel. He is the most hated heel in America, where 7-year-old girls run up to him and punch him when he's in the stands. So that was crazy, right? So just getting that whole standpoint of MJF and Will Ospreay, and then I believe there was mind games with the Tiger Driver, where Will Ospreay was trying to figure out if he was going to use it. He heard Daniel Bryan with it. He's kind of skeptical to use it again and stuff like that. So definitely an intense match. And as Brian said, this match was basically so the crowd in London can be on Will Ospreay's side even more now that he's actually going after the title. So we'll see what happens with that. AEW trying to pick up steam. Swerve Strickland as the champion. They're trying to do what they're going to Arthur Ashe Stadium. They had just announced that again. What is that? Is that Open Slam?
Grand Slam.
So they're doing that again, which is always an interesting venue because it's a tennis court and stuff like that, especially with the U.S. Open and stuff like that. So definitely going to be interesting. And then we'll see what they continue to do there. But that 1-hour match, definitely everyone check it out. Definitely check it out. Especially with 1-hour matches, you always think about, of course, the Iron Man match with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. You always think of Iron Man matches, but nope, this was a regular match. So that takes me back to like Clash of the Champions with Ric Flair and Ricky Dragon Steamboat. Those guys of that era and stuff like that. So definitely go check that out there for AEW as they're picking up steam before Grand Slam. But yeah, interesting week in wrestling. Summerslam's on the way, 2 weeks away. So we will be making our picks in a couple weeks, and we'll see what happens. We still have Rhea Ripley returning and all that. We'll see what happens with Cody Rhodes in the Bloodline. It looks like he is going to be facing Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam for the title.
Just as a side note, before we continue about that match, if you go on Twitter, I have never seen a title match where people don't give a shit about the title match itself, but they care about what's going to happen after the match more.
What if Solo wins? What if Solo wins?
Everyone's saying Roman. And literally, no one cares about if Cody's going to come out on top or Solo's going to come out on top. They care about what's going to happen after the bell.
That is very true.
Hey man, if Roman comes back, if the time is for the real tribal chief to come back, it will be one of the biggest moments in wrestling history. Yes, and we will see it. We will be able to see it, man. Can't wait to see it. And that's 2 weeks away, man. We still got Punk and Drew and seeing what they're going to do. This whole Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan thing's picking up. We're going to see what happens with the Wyatt Six. Everything in professional wrestling. We got Bayley and Nia Jax now going after each other with Tiffany Stratton in the middle of it. We'll see what happens.
E.L. Bayley.
See, when she said that, I was just like, how are you going to body shame her? But yet when the fans body shame you, you go on social media with these emotional soliloquies.
She's a part of being the character. It's a part of being a heel, Brian. It's a part of being a heel, Brian. That's what you're supposed to do. Cry sympathy, but then shame others. That's what you're supposed to do. But yeah, it's interesting work. We're going to see how that picks up over the couple weeks, especially with Nia Jax being queen in the ring. Tiffany Stratton being her running buddy with the Money in the Bank briefcase. We're going to see how that plays out. And we're going to see how that goes. It seems like we're going to get Logan Paul and LA Knight for the United States title, which we've been saying that should have been happening at some point. But we'll see. We'll see what happens leading up to SummerSlam. And we'll catch up with you guys next week. And until next time, and always remember, always kick it on two. Always kick it on two. Keep fighting. Keep putting up the good fight. And until next time, guys.